make a mark. Silence, compliance, let others get smart. Never a truth in a word that they write. Don't listen or take it to heart. Stand up and be counted with your boots on the ground. March for the cause with banners be loud. Lost generations will never be found till the numbers rise up to your martyrs proud. Give it up, keep waging war. Suck it up and make the haters hate you more. Expected to fall back and just do your part. A timeless defiance bites worse than its bark. Whatever the pressure, we all stand and fight. Won't listen or tear us apart. The inmates have taken over the asylum. Look sharp and focus in place to keep up with cracks in their castles. We must never be bound. Let the numbers rise up to your martyrs proud. Give it up, keep waging war. Suck it up and make the haters hate you more. Give it up, keep waging war. Suck it up and make the haters hate you more. Seal the words into your chest. Step out of the rest. You've got to confess. Your kings, your queens, your gods of the rest. Seal the words into your chest. Give it up, keep waging war. Suck it up and make the haters hate you more. Seal the words into your chest. Step out of the rest. You've got to confess. Your kings, your queens, your gods of the rest. Seal the words into your chest.
Welcome in all. Back Sunday afternoon. I thought I'd do another little drum lesson for you all. So welcome in. Welcome in. We're into show, 21 now? For those guys who've been here since the start, I much appreciate you. For those guys who are just checking in for the first time, what's this all about? Well, basically, I'm from Freestyle Rudiments, Marching Drummers Academy. And over the lockdown in the UK, a long time ago, we started doing these live lessons. Well, these live lessons eventually became something we did twice weekly. It became interviews, became all sorts of things. We created a Facebook group, Marching Drummers Lounge. So get yourselves in there. We want to talk things Marching Drummers, then that's where we do it. The lesson notes from these lessons are always put in there after the lesson. And as you can see, there's some extra lessons, the previous shows, interviews, all sorts of stuff in there. So today, I thought what we'd look at today, I did a lesson last week and I did it on my blue book, and it was something that I'd hesitated to do in the past because when you're doing a lesson on something that you're selling, I'm aware that people are like, oh, he's just selling it, blah, 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 right? But I'm going to do the same this week, right? But what I'm going to do this week is I'm actually going to do it from the Red Book. So the Red Book is all about rudiments. Right, now I created this book, a few years ago now. And it's had a lot of success, and I appreciate you guys who've bought it. I created it basically because I got back into marching drumming again, rudimental drumming, and I wanted one place that just had all of the rudiments, and I couldn't find anything that had it. So in here, what I did was I went and created one book that had all the rudiments, but even then I was like, well, that doesn't help enough. So what I did then was I created all these different things that I call positions. So what I thought to do today is I'll go through a page in this book, or a couple of pages, and show you what it's all about and see if it's something that you guys could use. Okay, so what we're doing the lesson today, if you have any questions, type in. It pops up on my screen. You're going to see me glancing around every now and then. I've got a bunch of monitors on the far wall over there, so I'm just kind of reading what you say. So sticks out, Kev. I'm just being told. Yeah, let us know where you're watching from. Let us know if you enjoy the lesson. If you find that other people would get something out of this, please tag them in. If you're in a drum line, you're only as good as your worst member, so make sure you tag the worst member in. Maybe don't tell them that, but tag people in. I'm just reading what someone's saying. Who's on the cover? Yeah, it's a bit of a secret, actually. So, I don't know if anybody knows who this is on the cover. It's not me. But it's somebody. So, Suggs has just said, so it's somebody that marched DCI and lives in the UK. See if you guys can guess. Okay, so who's this for today? Well, this is going to be for everybody. I'm going to go slow, but I'm aware that there's some advanced drummers that watch this. In drum corps, there's a big difference. Difference is the wrong word, but there's a lot of very new drummers all the way through to some very, very good drummers. And I'm trying to make sure that I can give you content that means that you've all got something to do. So I'm going to start simple today with a simple rudiment. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer the advanced drummers some faster speeds and some more difficult variations of it, right? So hang in there. Make sure you've got sticks and a pad. It's not going to be easy. For you guys who are a little bit newer, if you start to get a little bit behind, don't worry about it. You can go back and watch the lesson afterwards. And make sure you got the notation by getting into the Marching Drummers Lounge group on Facebook. That's a free group. Or get yourself over Freestyle Rudiments over on YouTube, and the lesson will be left over there as well. So it'll be about 30 minutes, I reckon. We'll do questions at the end. Questions can be about anything throughout the lesson, right? You can ask me whatever you want to ask me. I've marched DCI a couple of times, so I've got a bit of drum corps experience, and I've been teaching drums for, a long time now, 25 years, something like that. So feel free to ask any questions. Right, let's get stuck in. Right, what I thought I'd do, right, what rudiment do you start with, right? When you've got a book out with like all the most popular drum corps rudiments, what do I start with? Well, I figured I'm going to start with my favourite, right? So my favourite two rudiments are probably Flam Drags and Paradiddle-diddles. Probably Flam Drags would win though, right, in a battle. So I thought we'd start with Flam Drags. Now, for most people now, doesn't mean that we're only going to learn to play Flam Drags today, right? What happens in the book is we do this thing called positions, and it's basically a term called permutations, which you would get on drum kit, and that's kind of where my concept came from, actually. In all honesty, if I'm completely honest with you, I learned a concept from the loose concept anyway, from Benny Greb, who's an amazing kit player, and he did something similar with grooves, and I thought that would work with rudiments. So this is where this book came from. So you can see what I've got there is I've got the basic Flam Drag. Well, I'm hoping most of you guys know what Flam Drags are, right? For anybody that's very new at the moment, I'm going to very quickly break it down. You can see what we've got is we've got Flam, followed by a drag. Well, guess what? That's where the name came from, right? So we've got... So for you guys who are really good at the moment, start blazing them out. Just get them going because you're going to be doing lots of those today, all right? So Flam Drag. Now that's the normal Flam Drag in position number 1. And as I said, we can play medium speed or we can blaze them out. Now we're going to do them all speeds today. Do whatever speed you can do. I'll do a lot of this to a metronome at a medium tempo, but if it's too easy for you, do it faster. Right, so these positions, what I'm talking about positions, these permutations, is if I go over to my screen now so that you can see this, and I need you to understand this because this is the basis of the book is all about this. If I take this first note here, right, and I move him, so this R here moves to the back, and then everything scoots over to the left. Now, not just the notes that are here, but the whole lot moves across by one note, then that's what I did to create the second position that you can play in. And if you look over here, look, there we go, that's it done for you. So position 2, now what happens is in the brain, we get these neural connections, let's call it, right? And basically, if we go beep, 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 we play a Flam Drag, right? Think of it as simple as that. Well, what we've already done is we've kind of taught our muscles of our brain to play Flam Drags. And what we're doing here is we're just changing where we start. Now, weirdly though, the brain, rather than just going, oh, it's still Flam Drags, I just got to play them starting on the double left. It's almost as if we have to completely program it in our brain, especially when there's a metronome in there. So now what we've got is we've got like a drag flam. So we've got like... Now your brain is automatically going to start trying to hear the drum beat like this. Down, down, down. You've got to force that away, right? So I want you marking time, or I want you playing with a metronome if you're not interested in that at all. Now I'm going to put this at about 80 beats a minute. And then off the left, 2, 3, 4. So I'd ideally want you marking time, 2, 3, 4. And what I straight away do then, because as much as I want to tell you that I practice those for 4 hours every day, it's just not true. when I am practicing like this, straight away I get bored quickly. So I want to put them in some kind of format that's going to help me. So what I'd often do is I'd look at what it's off. Well, this one's off the left hand. So before it, what can I play? Well, I could play 4 triplets leading into it. Right, either just hand-to-hand triplets if you're a bit of beginner. If you're a bit more advanced, maybe put, well, anything, normal Flam Drags, but I was going to say Flam accents, so like a shopping spree. Right, I'm going to play it with a metronome. If it's too slow for you, ignore my metronome, play it fast. 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last time. And that bar before could be anything, right? Let's say that you want to push yourself a little bit and you've been practicing paradiddles, right? You could jump from 16ths back into triplets. Could I left-handed? So I've got 1 E under, 2 E under, 3 E under, 4 E under. Paradiddle, 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 paradiddle. So what I'm in essence saying is learn the stuff from the book, but find your own ways to put it into some kind of format that makes it a little bit more interesting. Now I'm going to fly through the rest of these quite quickly. Don't worry too much if you're like, I can't get this, right? Like I said, you can go in here and watch the video afterwards, the Marching Drummers Lounge on Facebook, and just pause it while I get to this part and figure out the different parts. And the notation from this lesson will be in that same group, so you can go away and have a look at these. I'm just going to push through them quite quick because I want to do quite a lot of stuff with you today. Any questions as I'm going through this? Type in, it comes up on my screen, it can be about anything. So position number 2 then is going to be, that's the one we just done, isn't it? Position number 3 is actually the one I want. In front of me I've got 2 monitor screens, and sometimes I put the mouse on the wrong monitor screen and start dragging the wrong things. That's why sometimes you're going to see me suddenly start moving around. Right, so this one's a lot more difficult. So what we've got now is we start with the tap, then we've got the flam, then we've got the diddle. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now if you screw up your timing when you're playing this, you need to be counting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Right, if you want to count correctly, right, you may be 1 triplet, 2 triplet, or 1 under, 2 under, 3 under, 4 under, 1. I'm not bothered as long as you get the results, all right? Now again, if you're going to be doing drum corps any time in the future, you want to be marking time. If you're playing kit, you want to be doing something with your feet. We've got to keep that pulse going. Now with a quarter note now, I've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now I need to get this quite loud now for me to stay in time with this, all right? So apologies if this is blowing your ears off, but... Now to practice that, I would again put it into triplets, and I'm now hearing it as the first 2 notes. So I'm actually hearing it as back, up, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4. Two, 3, 4. Make sense? So I just had a quick question for Thomas. So what are the importance of Flam Drags compared to the other rudiments? Well, honestly, I'm not going to lie to you about this. There is no more important or less important rudiment, right? It's just the one I like the most, right? I love playing Flam Drags. I like the fact you can play them quick and all the variations of them. Blackstick them. There's all these cool things that you can do with them. So in my mind, they're just cool. And so that's why we're doing it first. They are used a lot though. So if you're into drum corps, marching drums in general, you're going to play, say for instance, Flam Drags a lot more often, and especially the parts that make up a Flam Drag, your flams and your drags, a lot more than say did leg 5s or something like that, all right? So that would be my argument for it. Hopefully that answers your question. So again, with this one, I'd put it into some sort of shopping spree layout. So I'd start with maybe 4 floor flam accents, as in like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. as I said at the start, if you're advanced, go for it, right? Right, if you're a beginner, if it's this as fast as you can do it, don't worry. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Right, now what I then found when I was going through this then is when I go to the next permutation, so when I then take this right hand earlet and put him on the end, what actually happens is the whole rudiment itself starts again, but off the left hand. So we're now essentially playing Flam Drags off the left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, stop. Well, most people can already do that because we've just done it right above. Some of these, again, they're going to be awkward positions. If I'm teaching you in a drum line and all of a sudden there's a part. So in fact, let me digress slightly here. So one of the other reasons that I've created this book, and one of the reasons that I think that some of the stuff in this book is so useful is there's lots of rudiments in here. So I'm not just talking about Flam Drags. There's hundreds of variations. I think we tried to work out at one point. There's like 500 variations, something, right? So there's all variations. Now, does that mean you have to know all these to do drum corps? No, of course not. But it might be that if I've done this position that you're looking at in the screen right now, this one here, because of this book or a friend showed you or whatever, then maybe just that happens once in a 10-minute drum corps show. So I'm playing some. In the middle of that, I just dropped in and carried on. Well, it means that when we come to learning that music, if I've done that before, I'm going to learn that a little bit faster than the guy next to me who's never played those and is trying to go, what's this? So these variations are not necessarily that you have to know every single variation off by heart to be able to instantly go, right, what's page 33, position number 4? It's just that at some point in your life you've done it, so when it comes up in the score, bang, you can play it. So this pattern, I really like this one because I can play it quite quick and show off with it, right? But it's a fun one. And then obviously the final one will be the position 3 of that same Flam Drag. Now, so that we get a big concept of what's going on with this book, or this page, right? It's not just about this book. You can go and figure these out for yourself. If you want to write out all of the rudiments and do these positions, feel free, right? So right side, what I started to find then was in the way I've created the book, I was like trying to figure out, well, what can I put next to each other in the book? What wants to go next to Flam Drags? And so what I started to figure was if I put all the other types of Flam Drags next to the normal Flam Drags, that makes a lot of sense. So when I'm going through the book, oh, I've learned Flam Drags. Oh, what's next? Oh, look, right side Flam Drags. What are they? So the right side Flam Drags, if you think of your normal Flam Drag, it's just the first half of it. Look, 1, 2, 3, play it again. 1, 2, play it again. So we get this constant right hand pattern. So it's actually about this kind of motion really to get the speed on this. Now, if there's any kit players watching in here, these are going to be a pain in the ass for you playing on a press pad. And some of the stuff I teach you, if you learn marching stuff and you're just predominantly into kit and you're doing a bit of this for a bit of fun, isn't going to work on a kit. But this one will, right? If you're off a ride cymbal and you're coming like chat on the ride, this is one that really will work. So spend a bit of time on this one. Right, most, let's say, DCI caliber drummers are going to have played those, all right? But will most DCI caliber drummers have done all the positions, right? I think not, and the reason I say that is because I hadn't when I marched DCI. I might be able to learn it pretty quick, but didn't mean that I went out there knowing how to play them. So what we've got now, let's position 2. So I now go in 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So again, I want some kind of time. Let's go for... That's quite slow actually, but we'll go with that speed. If the metronome's too loud for you, let me know, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what I'm trying to do is keep everything quiet, apart from that flam. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If you're in different lines, you're going to do different things to keep it quiet, different ways of playing. Some people are going to use a little bit more, and some people are going to use no arm, and so on and so forth, right? But the main thing is here is that I'm trying to make sure there's a definite accent on that flam, and everything else is quiet. Even when I'm reefing it, I I want some sort of difference between the flam and everything else. God, it's hard on the left hand, that one. I got a weak left hand compared to my right. I'm assuming that that's a mutual thing for most of us as drummers. I certainly know it is in the kit world. Any questions during today's lesson? Feel free to just jump in and ask. For guys who are just dropping in at the moment, today we're talking about. I'm doing a blatant plug, but because I think that the information is really useful for guys, the Red Book, Freestyle Rudiments book, we're going through Flam Drags in here, and I'm explaining to you how to go about taking your rudiments and try them in different positions, and then we're going to take some questions at the end. But if you have any questions at the moment, type in. I'm interested to know. So this one here then that we've got written, this is a nasty one for timing. Anything that's on the second note of a partial, the second triplet of a partial, second partial of a triplet, I should say, is hard work, right? Because we're going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now if we're marking time, we're having to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is one of those cases which is difficult. So I put quarter notes on to begin with. So that's going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Let's go a bit slower. Let's force it slow, right? So I'm at about 74, 75 beats a minute. Right, so with the triplet in, you'd be getting this. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to dump the triplet out. 1, 2. But we're going to feel it and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now then again, I might put this into a shopping speed type arrangement and come out with it. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, fight pilots out there, let's take it right up and see where we fall apart, right? So if we go to about 113, okay, I can pull that one off. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm rushing it. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You know what's interesting is one of the things that this has taught me. So as I mentioned at the start of this, we're on show 21 now, and there's been more shows than that because we've done interviews and all sorts of other stuff. One of the things this has taught me from doing these live lessons is that there's certain things in drumming that you have to give full 100% concentration to, and you can't think of anything else, no matter how long you've been playing drums, really. And this is one of those things. As soon as I'm starting to think about what's next or what's on my screen over there, or trying to read what someone's just written on the screen, I can't do it. So even when you've been playing for 25, 30 years, you're still going to have to get into this kind of zone. And so getting into the zone is something that I very much try and encourage and teach people to do when they're getting into drum corps or anything, any kind of activity that involves playing in front of people particularly. If anyone's into this, there's a guy called Stephen Kotler who talks all about, I'm going to get it wrong here. Let me just think of this. He's got a book called Fire, I believe it. Someone tell me what book he's done. Someone type in Stephen Kotler. And anyway, there's a scientific term for this, for kind of getting into the zone. And what I'm basically doing is just sit. All it really means is giving you full concentration to nothing else in the world but drumming. Now, for most of us who are drumming in and out, there's been times where time kind of has sped up and you've been playing drums for ages and you just concentrate on that. You don't hear the background noise. You don't hear. We're trying to be able to train ourselves to be able to kind of switch that on and then switch it back off. And that's something that's certainly at the elite level of drum corps. If any of these guys who are aspiring to march in DCI and WGI, that's something you've got to train yourself to do. And so it's almost like game face when that metronome comes on. It's not just about standing there and looking like. It's actually about giving you full concentration. So a bit of a long-winded story for you there. But what was happening to me then was when I was doing this, I'm thinking about other things, right? So I'm going to try and get it perfect now by just getting out of zone and switching it on, all right? So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I messed it up. Okay. getting there, all right? Russ Piner's just put on the CBT, cognitive, I can't believe it, cognitive behavioural therapy. The book I'm looking for, maybe I've got the wrong name. I'm sure it's Stephen Kotler, and I'm sure it's called something with fire or something like that. I'm going to kick myself after this for not remembering this. It's that bad. I'm going to do an actual lesson on this. There's even a word. It's getting. Forget it. I'm going to forget it. That's going to annoy me. It'll come to me in a minute. Anyway, appreciate you typing it in. I don't think it's that book, unless that's the sort of scientific term for what I'm talking about. Then, if it is, then go and check that stuff out, because it is quite interesting actually to see how science is kind of talking about things that we have to do as drummers when we're playing in front of people. Okay, right. Let's have a look then. So what happens next with these Flam Drags? In a moment, we're going to go for a random page in the book, because I'd like to choose a rudiment that's not my favourite, and then maybe I'm not even as comfortable with. So the next thing, left side Flam Drags. Well, I'm not going to spend as much time on these, because I think you get the kind of concept here. And state of flow, right? That's what it's called. It's come to my head now, right? So when you get in a flow state or a state of flow, if you look up that, someone after this lesson, go on YouTube, type in flow state or state of flow. You're going to learn a whole load of stuff that's going to help you as far as drumming is concerned. I promise you, right? So what we've got here, look, is we've got left side only. So someone just asked me, can you do book reports in this same thing? Yes, you can. Yes. So page, I don't know what page is on the book. If I go to the index, I can probably tell you, but yeah, that might be one we'll have a quick look at, right? They're horrible when you start to change the positions. They really are, but yeah, it is possible to do that. If you think about it, though, one of the things that happens with this, and I realised this when I did paradiddles, if you take a standard paradiddle and you start to move it through, you start to realise, oh, it's just normal paradiddles, inverted paradiddles, reverse paradiddles, and outward paradiddles. It's similar kind of thing with the book reports, okay? So someone's just said they've been trying book reports for the longest time, I think he's about to write. So yeah, okay, we might have a look at the book reports for you in a minute. Right, let's have a quick look here. So we've got left side. Position 2. And position 3. Right, what's next? Swiss Flam Drags. Right, and I'm going to push through these quick, right, because I think you get the concept here now, and I'm going to give you another rudiment to look at. So this is all on one page, right? Now, I know that this sounds like a big sell, but I kind of don't care, because I think the information in this book is really good. This is just one page of the book, and there's at least 40 pages with different variations in there, which is hundreds and hundreds of different patterns for you to learn. So Swiss Flam Drags are like that. So these are fun because you can really reef them. So position 2 and 3 of these are nasty on their own, right? Just by a lot of people learn that pattern, and it's like, yeah, check me out. I can play some Swiss Flam Drags, and you say you do position 2, and it's like, Jesus, that is crazily hard, right? So this one. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So again, I might put it flat in a spree. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Flam, flam. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Flam, flam. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and on, all right? Someone's just said, you're really good at drumming. Now, I appreciate that. I've been drumming for a long time. Now, if you knew how many hours I spent drumming, you wouldn't be all that impressed, all right? I don't necessarily pick things up really, really quick. He just said, have you done DCI? Yes, I did DCI twice, once with the cadets and once with Blue Devils, and I also taught at Blue Coats. So I've got quite a lot of experience, but like I said, you really wouldn't be impressed if you knew how many hours I've spent practicing things like this. I was a geek as a kid, just making every excuse I could up to sit and practice this. I don't know why, but I got a bit of an obsession with being able to master things, and you do that for 20 years and you end up here, all right? So don't be too impressed with that. Right, this last bit then, you can see that position 3 I've got. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, stop. 1. And it just makes it a bit more interesting. When you get on your practice pad and you're like, I'm going to play some Swiss Flam Drags. Or I'm going to give you a challenge. Next time you do that, think, no, I'm going to learn position 3. And just see if you can master those, all right? They'll still be practicing the motion of the Flam Drags, so you still get better. But you're learning a little bit more in depth. Okay, right. So tell you what I'm going to do is we're going to choose a random page from the book and we're going to look at something else. I will briefly, though, seeing as we had a question about the book reports, I think I can search by text on here, can I? Book reports, here we go, yeah. So in a red book, right, you can see there's 4 positions. Now, shall I make a fool of myself and show you that I can't play some of the stuff in the book? Yeah, why not, all right? So the first one, right, and I'm not going to break this down. I'm just going to show you that I can't play everything in the book, and I probably never will, but I can show you how you work it out. So this first one, that's book reports, right? Now, anybody who's struggling with book reports, I would almost put money down that you're trying to play them like this. And when you can't play them like that, you're going like, I suck, I'm not going to bother playing them, right? Most people, like myself, apart from, let's say, the gifted, like, 0.0001%, had to sit and do this for hours. So if you don't get it, go slow. And I mean for hours. Not like 2 minutes and think, oh, I did what Geoff said. I mean hours. So, position 2 then. Right, so now you're going to see me sucking, right? Which, I don't mind. So, position 2 means that that first note, that R, move to the end now. So now we've got a whole different rudiment. So I've now got da, ja, da, da. So I've got that rhythm in my head already. Da, ja, da, 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 ja, da, 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 da. Then the right inversion. So actually it's not too bad. But it's easy for me to play it without showing you time. So if I was marking time, I've got like 1 E under, 2 E under, 3 E under, 4 and. So I might set myself up with like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. You know. You know, if you're marching WGI, that's the sort of speed you're going to play in, right? For most mere mortals, it's going to be a little bit slower. And you're going to get good at whatever you're obsessed with. So Blue Devils played this in... Greg Overden's a guy from England who marched. I'm sure they played it in the year he was in it, which would have been like 2000 or something like that. And what you often find is when you're really into drum corps and you see a line playing something you never played before, it's like, well, I've got to learn that now. And that, I think it was him or his year certainly that inspired me to play that. Right, so position 3. So position 3 means now instead of the... So anybody just jumping in, we're doing book reports in different positions, right? This is very, very difficult, and I'm going to go a little bit faster because it's going to be dull for most people. But that's the book report. So position 3 will go... Now, I'm picking these up quick, so I reckon I've learnt these properly before. I'm not going to lie to you. And then... So I put together. And obviously the final one, position number 4. Right, someone give me a random number, and it'll take like a minute for it to come through, or maybe a few of you. Give me a random number between 3 and 40. So 3 and 40. And probably not 3 or 40, but any other random number. Someone give me a random number. Someone type something in. While we're doing that, anybody who's just checking these out for the first time, make sure you're over in our little group over on Facebook called Marching Drummers Lounge. Within there, the notes from today will be in there. So I'll stick up the Flam Drag sheet for you guys to check out. And the previous shows that are in there. We're on show 21 now. We've done a bunch of interviews as well. I've got another big interview next week happening, which we're going to announce tomorrow. So get yourselves in there and go and check out the stuff that's in there. If you're not following, then please come and follow me over on YouTube. I've got a channel over there that I'm posting lots of stuff, and I'm quite enjoying my time over on YouTube, but I need to get to 1,000 before I can monetize it and start annoying you with adverts. But in truth, if I can start to monetize that, I can sort of budget then to give that a little bit more time. So I think we've got like 700 followers or something like that in there at the moment. It's growing all the time, so get yourself over there. And for those who want some other lessons to work on, so we've also got Marching Drummers Academy. So if you're really into these lessons and you're enjoying these, I've got many other lessons already created for you as video lessons, monthly subscription over at freestylrudiments.com. So maybe go and check that out. Okay, right, a couple of questions just come out. Shall I have a quick read? Okay, I can't. I've got a screen over the top of whatever Sugg suggested, and underneath I can see someone saying, "How did I know you were going to suggest that?" So I can guess what that is. So 27 was the first one that came up. Let's have a look what we've got. Page 27. In fact, I'll do it on the computer because sometimes the computer pages are different to this version that I've got here. Okay, I might not do 27 because it's almost the same as book reports. It's choo-choos, but I'm just going to check if the computer says the same thing. Basically, what happened when I first started printing these, yeah, it is book reports actually, page 27. Right, so when I first started getting these printed, what you tend to do when you have a book is you get your book printed, you go try it out, and it comes back and you spot all your mistakes. And so the books that I've actually got in this studio are the original ones, and I added a few extra pages. So my pages in the books that I've got in front of me are slightly different to the one on the computer. Right, what was the second one? 7. Let's have a look at 7. I want a high number actually. The early ones are easy. Let's go for a high one. 33. 7 was Swiss Army triplets, in case you're wondering. So I'm not avoiding them. Okay, yeah, we'll do this one. Cheddar Threes, right? This is an interesting rudiment. Right, let's get my screen back. Okay, so Shudder Threes. Now this is an interesting rudiment because this is one that I learned a lot of years ago, and it's never really, I've seen this, it's not a popular rudiment really, but what we've basically got here, we've got a paradiddle. So if you take a normal paradiddle, but you put an extra note between the diddle, so paradiddle, but we make it a single. We've basically got, that's quite an easy rudiment, yeah? Well, it's that, but we just got a flam at the start. Now we could loop that back to the right hand. But with this particular one, what we do is we then play it off the left like a paradiddle would. So slowly work that out if you've never done it before. So it's a fun one, all right? You're going to work on your speed if you've never done that before. That'll take a little bit of practice, but I want to mainly get across to you now these positions that are in this book. So as I spoke to you about at the start, we do permutation, we take the R, we put it to the end, we scoot everything across. That gives us position number 2. So I've now got a whole different pattern. I've now got the same kind of motions, but I've now got, so da, 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 da. Then. Ooh. So the reason I said "ooh" is because I'm opening up the 3. It should sound like this, but I'm making it sound like instead of, yeah, I'm gonna go a bit slow because I haven't got quite the intro on that. Yeah, my left don't want to do it. Just got in there, all right? So now I'm sure you get the idea now, right? What will position 3 be? Well, everything will scoot across. We basically play reverse now. We've got, and then, bit better at that one, aren't I? Right, and then the final one, I bet I suck at this one as well, right? We've now got the chapter digger. Ah. Okay, I think that is plenty for you guys to get going on with, right? So that there will be Cheddar Threes. We've already done the Flam Drags. For anybody who's hung out today, I really appreciate you watching it all. We haven't quite finished there, but as I said, the Marching Drummers Lounge group is a free group, right? You don't have to pay. There's no catches. You just get in there. It's just it's all drummers, all talking about marching drums. The reason I'm trying to get you guys in there is, one, it's a great little community, but two, because the notes from today, so I'll put the Flam Drag page from this book in there, and maybe the Shudder Threes as well, will be in there for you to be able to go and master and learn for yourself. Now, if we've got any questions at the moment before we start to kind of wrap things up, while you guys are typing in, because there's always a delay, I want to let you know that we've got another live interview coming up next week. I'm just going to make sure that that's all set up for you before I fully announce that. That'll be announced probably this evening, or if not, tomorrow evening. The last one that we did last week, Pete Sappington, was awesome. I really enjoyed that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. One thing I could really do with you guys is I'd like to ask you some questions actually about something. I'm at the moment setting up a online Zoom masterclass for drum kit players to do with double stroke rolls and a couple of things, and I'm working on that at the moment as we go. It's ready to go. The course is kind of written out, and the concept is basically a maximum of 10 people in each Zoom class. They'll come in, they'll get a 10-page plus probably about 15-page booklet, and we'll do a lesson for, say, an hour and a half, and then maybe a week later would recap that, and then that's happening more towards the kit players or maybe some of you beginners. I'm just interested to know actually while I'm setting that up if there's any interest for you guys doing that for marching stuff. So if there's anything that you're thinking like, oh, I'd love him to do a Zoom class on and now these are chargeable, all right? So this won't be free like this. So I'm going to keep the prices fairly low. So we're looking at around about $15 to $20, £20, that kind of range. I'm not going to charge masses, and that'll be probably for 2 lessons. If that's something you'd be interested in, and don't just say yes just because to be nice. Right? I'm serious, because it takes a lot of stuff for me to set this up. If that is something that would interest you, just type in the bottom of here after the lesson what you might be interested for me to do Zoom classes on, and it's something that I'll maybe look into if there's enough interest for that. Anyway, questions. What we got? Can I teach the Blue Devils technique for drumming? Probably not. Right now, I'll tell you why. Because I march tenors at Blue Devils, right? So I can teach you all that. Right, and over the years when I marched, it was slightly like thumbs on top. It's slightly changed now to sort of thumbs by side. Now what I can do is I can sort of now in current times, so 2020, I can kind of watch the snare line and go, right, the basics are always the same. The technique is going to be the same technique that we learned 20 years ago, 30 years ago, probably about that time actually. Before that there was no arms used, right? But the fundamentals are the same. I've got a lesson actually. If you get yourself over to Freestyle Rudiments page, on there it's called, I think, just Learn Marching Drumming, and it's basically teaching you traditional technique. In fact, I've got 2 lessons on there on traditional technique. If you get yourself over there, in there I teach you how to hold the stick, and all the fundamentals that I'm showing you is exactly what you would be taught at Blue Devils. The difference is going to be slight, right? So the differences between most drum lines are this. If most drum lines are going to stand the same, right? Some drum lines might like you to hold the left-hand stick a little bit higher or a little bit lower, but most are going to say it's going to be in the same positions here. I've got a tendency to hold it a bit further down, all right? Most people are going to hold it about here, so we get that even pattern. Most drum lines these days are not going for a high arm. They're going for just, if you stick your sticks by your side and bring them up, you're in that kind of position. Right, now the differences then are going to be mainly how much arm's used, right? If you watch some of maybe Roger Carter's type lines, so Blue Coats and Pulse and that kind of thing, he's got times when they're using quite a lot of arm. When they're doing Moella and that kind of stuff, right? So they're allowed, let's say, to use a lot of arm. They're also playing a lot with the thumb and the first finger here, and everything's gone a little bit lower than my day. So back in my day, everything was like, everything that's a little bit smoother and maybe a little bit less power. and not in a negative, because they're playing faster and they're playing more difficult things, all right? But the fundamentals are exactly the same no matter what line you go to. If you go to Cavaliers or you go to Blue Devils or you go to Cadets, the fundamentals are going to be the same thing. It's just the things that are changing are little things, like maybe the sticks, heights of the sticks. Some lines might play with sticks higher, some real low. Some are having their snare drums far away from them. The System Blue snare drums are quite close to the body, so that means they're actually playing with their arms a little bit further back. So if you're going to play for Blue Devils, you might have to practice with your practice band a bit closer, right? Now, I apologise that I can't answer it in a better way than that. I'm sure that what you want the answer is Blue Devils do this, 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 and this. Your best bet, though, is go and get some lessons, some one-to-one lessons with somebody who's marched Blue Devils last year or the year before, and then you're going to know exactly what's going on, right? If you want other lessons, I do Skype lessons, so I can teach you all of what I know, and I get onto the free stuff that I've got over on the YouTube channel. We got any other questions? Oh, okay, I just realised he said, can he teach that next time? Apologies, I didn't read all your question there. But same answer, okay? I'm just popping up the feed now to see if I missed any questions. Cool. Okay, Russ, I just read your reply. Yeah, so the stuff I was talking about with Russ was trying to find the answer to earlier, talking about kind of getting in the zone and that kind of thing. Yeah, go and check that stuff out. It really is kind of cutting edge technology. I mean, science. The kind of what's powered this is what powers a lot of things where there's lots of money involved, is the military. So some of the elite American military have gone in and figured out and tried to figure out, well, if we can speed up how fast people learn things by getting them more focused, that means we can win more wars, or we can have better this, that, and the other. And so they've spent a lot of money researching this stuff. And so some of these guys, I'm sure it's Stephen Kotler, I hope I'm getting the right person there, but there's a couple of guys which have now released as much of this information as they can, let's say, to the general public. And so you can start to now really start to understand the things that are happening when you're in the drum line, you're being focused and you're in the zone, what's actually happening up here. And for me, if you're the sort of person like me who, when you understand what's going on up here, it gets you better, go and check that stuff out. Someone just said, what's your most enjoyable performance you've ever done? Do you know what? With all the sort of DCI and that kind of stuff that I've done, you don't really get to enjoy the moment very much. So when you march DCI finals, for instance, you, like I just said, you're so in the zone, you're so trying to just perform, you don't really get a chance to soak it up. Now, I never got to win DCI finals. I imagine that for lots of guys who get to do that performance afterwards when you've won, that would be pretty cool. And my most memorable performances in drum corps would be those, the winning performance when we stood on stands, just, you know, playing without really caring. But for me, actually, I do something called percussion theatre now, which is a lot of ex-drum corps drummers, a few DCI guys, and we're doing all stick tricks and freestyle drumming and playing to music. And actually, those performances are probably more memorable because you really get to interact with the crowd. I'm not having to sort of put on a military sort of stance. I'm able to smile and have fun. And so for me, actually, those performances are the ones that stand out. So for me, even the simple ones, we busking in Scotland, busking in London, they're probably, as enjoyment-wise, it's probably more enjoyable than marching DCI finals, in all honesty. But you don't get the buzz that you get from marching DCI finals, and you don't get the season-long learning and all the other things that you get from working to be the very best. But it is good fun playing in front of people when there's kind of fun involved. Okay, I'm going to start to wrap up unless we've got some other questions. Someone just said, when's your other studio going to be ready? Yeah, good question. I'll tell you about it. So basically, the room I'm in at the moment is the front room. Do you know what? Let's give you a little spin around. See if you can show you this. What's the biggest camera I can get? Right, so this is literally, I wonder if this will spin around. I might lose you guys here on this camera now, but you can see this is what I see at the moment. So I've got some lights, I've got a couple of electric kits because I teach drums, I've got my monitors, and basically this is just what will be. Oh, I'm all caught up. And it's still a pretty cool room, right? I can't complain, right? There's some cool stuff in here. Right, but this is let me just get back. Don't go leaving me. So this is quite literally the front room of the house, though. And so my wife is desperate to get in here and start making this a front room with a nice TV and a sofa and that kind of thing. So I've got a double garage which is being converted. The problem is I've got to make it fully soundproof. I do a lot of recording on drum kit and sessions and that kind of thing, and so I have to have the acoustic kit able to work. At the moment, I can teach and I can do some stuff on the electric kits I've got in here. And so the reason it's being held up, in honesty, is because when you soundproof a room, the first thing you've got to do is literally smash all the ceiling that's already there out, smash all the walls so you can see everything that's back there. So at the moment, I'm literally skip out the front of the house, starting to smash down all the plasterboard so I can get back. As soon as I can see what's there, at that point then, I can then say, right, this is going to take X amount of weeks. At the moment, I'm finding things that I'm like, oh man, I didn't realize I've got to fix that as well. So I'd like to say, I think 2 months from now, I'll be in there. And it will be cool in there. So, okay, we just got one answer about, well, this is a hard one, right? So there is no, I'm going to answer this in another poor way that you're not going to enjoy, right? But someone's asked me about height of sticks. What's the correct height? There isn't one, right? Because every line's different. Now, if you were to buy one of the packets, so if you're going to audition for post percussion, they'll sell you a packet, and at the front of there, there's always a bunch of pictures of different drummers with their sticks out, and they'll show you the height for that particular line. As a general rule of thumb, if you get the rim of your drum here, so this back rim here, and you put your fingers out like this, if you do 2 fingers off of there, that's a good height to kind of work from. Right, so 2 fingers sets an angle there. That's a good height to work from. Now, the problem with that is some drum lines, some will say, instead of it being 2 fingers off the top of the rim here, it's from the edge of the side of the rim. That actually means that it's only 1 finger from the top. That means you're going to drop down a bit. And some other drum lines will say, no, we have 3 fingers. And so it's a little bit higher. So what you're going to have to do is basically look at the lines that you want to be in and just make a decision based off of that. If you're teaching a line or you're in charge of your line, it's almost random. That there is no right. Just choose put your hands by your sides, close your eyes, bring your sticks up and see what angle, where your drum would be a nice height. Set your drum at that height and then figure out how many. There's nothing really. We're going for efficiency here. So in the old days, people have their snares higher, right? The problem with having your snares higher is it means your arms have got to be higher, and that means we get tension up here. And then it went for a stage where everyone had the stairs really low. And the problem is then is you don't get tension, but you get this wrist is already kind of cocked, so it's already bent, and so we're creating tension then by that. So if we're looking, what we'd probably do is get a scientist in and ergonomically, what's the best thing? Well, it's just going to be just bringing your hands up wherever they land. And that's why realistically, snare lines with all different height people should have snares all different heights. Sadly, it just doesn't look very good, does it? So the little guy in the end's got his snare up here, and the big tall guy's got his down there, sadly. Okay, got another question. Yeah, so someone just said, can I do a small lesson on traditional grip? I've done one actually. So we're in show number 21 now. And this is over on YouTube as well, right? So if you go to the channel, Freestyle Rudiments on YouTube, and in there, in fact, I think this little picture is going to come up now. I'll show you. See the first picture that's going to on the left-hand side with me pointing towards a drumstick. So that's all about how to play with traditional grip. So go and check that out. However, I've also done another lesson on traditional grip on one of the live lessons, and I forget which one, but it's going back maybe 3 or 4 lessons ago, so maybe show 18 or something like that. And you'll be able to go and watch that if you search for the live lessons on that page I just showed you, or you get yourself on Facebook in a Marching Drummers Lounge, and in there you go back through the previous shows. And one of the previous shows on there, and it's free to go in there, right? You haven't got to pay. One of the previous shows in there is it was talking about left-hand techniques. You can go and do that. Alternatively, Freestyle Rudiments Academy. We've got a monthly subscription in there at the moment, which works out as something. It's cheaper than the prices that are on here, actually. I've been doing a discount recently, so it's something like $13 a month. And in there, you get instant access to, I can't remember how many lessons we've got in there. There's at least 80. We're coming up to 100 lessons in there. And one of the very first lessons in there is on a left-hand technique. Now, I don't expect you to just go and give your money over straight away without any kind of any kind of trial. So if you get yourselves over there, you get yourself a free 14-day trial anyway. And also, it's kind of money back guarantee. So if you don't like it after 14 days, you haven't got to pay. So get yourself in there, maybe check that out. And there's plenty of lessons on all the stuff that you could ever want to know to do with marching drumming over the Freestyle Drummers Academy. www.freestylrudiments.com, which is up on that other screen, just there. Okay, right, we're going to wrap up there. I'm going to go see the family, watch some Netflix, chill out. So appreciate you guys hanging out. If you enjoy these lessons, please let me know. The main thing is, though, please tell other people, right? The more people that come and check these out, the more my ego grows. And the more people, I'm just kidding, but the more it grows, the easier it is for me to kind of condone doing more and more and more of these lessons. As I said, we've got some more interviews going on next week. Please come and check out the interviews and get yourself over to the Facebook group. Everything that you ever want to know is in there. And there's other guys in there who've got at least as much experience as me, and will help you out. So if you've got a video and you're not very good at rolls, maybe go in there and ask the question, and someone else will probably give you a good answer. So appreciate you watching. I probably should give the last little plug to the book, shouldn't I? So if you've enjoyed the stuff to do with the book today, go check it out. It's on Amazon. So anywhere in the world that's got Amazon, you can get the book. I'm sure there's some countries that don't have Amazon in there, but most countries these days have got Amazon. If you want the PDF copy of the book, not the paperback, then you can get yourself over to the Freestyle Rudiments Academy, and there's a copy in there. So go check that stuff out. Right, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.